Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Imagine my surprise, and I'm just sitting here relaxing, having a snack, and I look over on my Twitter timeline and I see yet another major action being taken by a Call of Duty competitor that is absolutely the standard, in my opinion. It should be the standard, and it is 100% the example that Call of Duty should follow. And what this is in regards to is the anti-cheat, the cheating situation, and how you deal with cheaters in your game. Because we all know, it's no secret, it's maybe the loudest thing going on with Call of Duty right now. The game has a significant cheating problem. We just talked about this a few days back, how the recent World Series of Warzone qualifier tournament was riddled with cheaters. An absolutely embarrassing look for Call of Duty, a terrible look for them, that the qualifiers for the biggest event can't even be trusted because there were so many cheaters in game that were impacting placements, impacting everyone that was trying to participate in that. And to that, Call of Duty really had no response. They were taking down cheaters that were actively in those matches only after the fact, after they had ruined, real legitimate participants' gameplay. They had no official response to that. In fact, I had to do some scrolling here because the last time that we heard anything official from Ricochet was back in March, towards the end of that, with the Season 3 update just prior to Verdansk returning, where they talked about some stuff they were going to be planning with Season 3, talking about how they've been taking down a bunch of cheaters and resellers, so going after them illegally, issuing cease and desists and shutting some of those down. This impacts some smaller cheats, some semi-larger cheat developers as well, which is a good thing. But when you haven't heard anything more on this in, months at a time, you start to question, okay, are they going to continue the legal pursuit of these other cheaters? Are they still actively going after these guys that are popping up again with legal loopholes, changing their development location to a country where Activision might not have the legal authority or jurisdiction, right? What's going on there? How many more developers have you taken out? How many more are you trying to take out? They've updated kill cams to give you more ideal, breakdowns of why you were taken out. Maybe it's not as sus as you thought it was because you were actually on the UAV or you were live pinged by someone, something of that nature. They've talked about shadow bans back in Season 3 when it's still the same issue that's been going on since the inception of this, basically, where legitimate players are unfortunately being shadow banned and limited with their matchmaking there. Taking out accounts that were released, stopping accounts from being hijacked and whatnot. They've talked about this, but not really that recently. They also issued a recap on May 7th, so not that long after Season 3. This was around the Season 3 Reloaded timeframe, basically, kind of detailing that their Season 3 launch was a success for partial updates with Ricochet. Obviously, as we saw, there were still a lot of cheaters during the season, and there's even more now because we haven't heard anything at all beyond this recap, sort of explaining some of the changes that they did at the start of Season 3, taking out another 10,000 accounts from potentially being hijacked. But we all know the response to cheaters in Call of Duty has been insanely underwhelming. They have completely missed the mark in their attempt to combat cheaters in their game. That's not to say there's other games out there that are just cheater free. That's not a reality. With the tech these days, with the money behind cheating, there are so many losers out there because at the end of the day, that's all they are. They are losers. If you're cheating in a video game, no one respects it. No one wants that. But there's people out there that have nothing better to do, apparently, that are going to be hard pressed to do that stuff. And every game suffers from this issue to a certain extent. Large other titles in the battle royale and FPS genre suffer these same problems, but not to the extent that Call of Duty does for as long and as consistently as Call of Duty has. And a prime example literally just happened this afternoon. And by the way, as we're going through all these details here today, if you guys enjoy the video, you find the information helpful, a like rating is always seriously appreciated. It really helps share the video around to new viewers. And if you happen to be one of those new viewers, maybe you just have not subscribed yet, we should change that each and every day. I got you guys covered with the latest going on in Call of Duty, so feel free to hit that sub button and turn on those post notifications. Help get us one step closer to hitting 1 million subscribers. But you may recall a while back, we actually covered this in a video a few months ago, talking about how Fortnite competitive and the Fortnite game in general was combating some cheaters in their competitive scene. Obviously, ranked play across multiplayer and Warzone in Call of Duty is plagued by cheaters. The leaderboard's top 250 match to match. You're running into them constantly. And during one of their divisional cups that they have for the Fortnite competitive, series and everything going on, they had people that were cheating in it. And they posted this initial update on it. This was all the way back in December of 2024, right? And like I said, we covered this before, saying this week we filed a lawsuit against a player who is cheating in our tournaments. So not only has Fortnite gone after Cronus development and blocked Cronus, availability in their game to a certain extent. Cronus still updates, other devices like that still update, but they go heavily after that. They've gone after cheat developers. They're also going after players who are cheating to severely deter anyone from considering it as much as they can. Because let me tell you, little Timmy was like, oh, I'm not good enough at the game, I gotta go through and buy these cheats, right? You don't have more money than Fortnite. You wouldn't have more money than Call of Duty. You will lose every single legal battle and you will be broke forever if that's the case, right? But they go through and they say, this player used cheating software and hardware and tried to avoid getting caught by using multiple accounts. It did not work. Cheating has no place in Fortnite, and we're doing everything we can to stop it, including legal action. Now, like I said earlier, Call of Duty's tried their hand at legal attacks on cheaters. They've succeeded with some, they haven't with others. There are legal loopholes that people will do, that losers will do to get around it. But Fortnite just updated this situation, and it is an example that is set now, I think, for the industry, one that I think Fortnite's probably going to continue to evolve with, and one that every other major game developer needs to follow suit with. Here's what Fortnite Competitive posted this afternoon, saying, "This just in breaking news. The judge ruled in our favor after the cheater ignored our lawsuit." Imagine cheating in this game, trying to think you're clever enough to get by with cheating, and then getting caught, getting sued, and saying, nah, they ain't gonna, like, you just tried to call Fortnite's bluff and it backfired tremendously. The player is required to pay $175,000 and will donate what we collect from that to charity. So it's all going towards a good cause. You are a loser in game for cheating. You get sued, you lose the lawsuit, and Fortnite's gonna win off of it, put money to charity. That's a W. They are also banned from playing Fortnite forever. Fortnite, I think, did a big unban wave a while ago, like accounts that got banned for cheating years and years back when the game first launched. They actually unbanned a lot. That's a bold move on their part. I think that's a little bit strange still, but they just did an infinite permaban. They're probably going to monitor that more heavily than COD does, where if you get permabanned, oh, I'll just make another new account. And then that one gets permabanned, I'll just make another new account. This is huge though. Fully committing to going after cheat users, not just cheat developers, but cheat users, suing them, following through, and then forcing them to pay. I mean, if they don't, that's just more legal problems coming their way. I'm not well versed enough in that area. Fun fact, I did not go to law school. I probably will not go to law school. I did watch Better Call Saul though, so I think I've got a decent amount of knowledge up there, right? It's just gonna, accrue more and more. It's gonna be more problematic if they don't pay back that 175K, and they're not allowed to play the game anymore. This is how you stop cheaters to a further extent than developing a good anti-cheat and having that actually function in your game season after season after season, not for 2 or 3 days after a season or a week after a season, like what Ricochet's largely been for a long time, right? So I'm hoping that Fortnite kind of being the game, the premier title in the gaming scene still, at least for like multiplayer games, FPS, Battle Royale, that sort of scene, right? Fortnite's the leader. They're doing it all. They have the biggest numbers, the craziest sales, everything like that, right? Them setting the example. Now, of course, not every single studio, not every single publisher can do that because they don't have the infinite amount of funds that Epic has, that Activision has, that all these other studios and publishers may or may not have, but it sets an example. And if cheaters, developers, and users are aware that, oh, I'm not only risking, maybe getting my account banned or whatever, I'm risking getting sued and having to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars if I download an aimbot for this game, I feel like that's going to be a decent deterrent. Some people will still probably do it, but it could be a much smaller number of people trying to do it if the anti-cheat is functioning and there is heavy legal ramifications, both in-game, getting your account permanently banned forever and you can't play anymore on any account, and monetarily in real life. That's a huge deterrent, and I hope that's something that Call of Duty uses to their advantage. If the anti-cheat's gonna suck and they're not going to update Ricochet enough or overhaul it or abandon it and invest in a better anti-cheat, the next best thing they can do is go after all of these to the full extent of the law. And Activision has those legal funds, probably an infinite amount of them because this game is an infinite money glitch, basically. Send the legal teams after these losers, the users, the developers, and keep pursuing it until you end up with situations like what Fortnite's got going on here. I think that's an awesome thing, and it's a great way to try and limit the amount of cheaters in game. That being said though, that's going to wrap things up for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, be sure to drop a like on it. If you're new to the channel, feel free to hit that subscribe button on your way out. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.